what? You have to hurry up because we're going to start. أخي وإحنا
We're recording upstairs.
I want to start while
It is broadcasting. Yeah, you can. But we're gonna stop it before
Okay, guys. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, so classes 3A, 4A, and 5A, inshallah. We already covered the lower level classes. You guys are now the higher level classes, so we expect to see a lot better from you guys and a lot more from you guys, inshallah. Make sure those kids get in trouble. Okay, anyway, we'll ignore that, even though we're live right now, but that's fine. Okay, so are you guys ready? Excellent. Be careful, you have 3 judges there. Are you guys ready? Your judges are right here. Are you sure? Yes, yeah, now it's changing, right? Okay, so these are your 3 judges, inshallah. They're going to critique you guys. They're going to judge your presentation overall based on your PowerPoint, your 3D model, your communication skills, your knowledge. So you're going to be judged on these things. So try to be as professional as possible. Try to be as clear as possible, inshallah, and as accurate as possible. So inshallah, we'll get started. We will start with 3A. First group, the ones who will be doing Umar ibn al-Khattab. Please come up. It's okay, we don't need to clap, guys. If you want to say takbir instead of clapping, that's better. You can say takbir. Okay. You guys will take the mic, and then you're going to introduce each other.
I'm Ola. I'm Maryam. I'm Rudis. So today we're going to present about Umar ibn al-Khattab. Childhood. As a young man, Umar learned to read, write, and whistle and fight. He also helped his father tend commands. He was described as being a politic, toad, and strong, and for the reason many people feared him. Before embracing Islam, when Islam emerged, Umar strongly strongly opposed it. In fact, he threatened to kill the Prophet. On his way, his friends who had secretly become Muslims told him that his sister-in-law had become Muslim, so he went to her house. How Umar became Muslim. When he got to his house, he knocked and went in. When his sister saw him, she tried to protect her husband. When Umar got closer to her, he punched her in the face, which caused her to bleed. He asked her if he could see the thing that they were reading. So she refused to give it to him. When Umar asked her again, and when he read its beauty, he asked to see the Sahaba. After embracing Islam, Umar was a great person and helped it in many wars. With the Prophet, he was the Prophet in all problems. For the reason, the prophets gave him a nickname for Barka,
Omar's daughter, Hasfa, married the prophet, and the son, he became president.
One day, an old lady was selling milk, and when the jar had a little bit of milk, she would add water. Ahmad was walking in the village, but did not notice the lady. So the lady's daughter got out and asked her mother, "Why are you doing this?" And her mother replied, "To make more money." Then the daughter said, "Well, even though Ahmad can't see you, Allah can." And when Ahmad heard this girl, he was going to marry her.
Family tree. Father Khattab in Ibn Nufayl. Mother Hadmat ibn Hisham ibn al-Magir. Sister Fatima ibn al-Khattab. Brother Zayd ibn Umar. Himself Umar ibn al-Khattab. Cousins Zayd ibn Umar. Cousin's daughter Astika ibn Zayd. Uncle Umar ibn Nufayl.
Zainab bin Muskin, Amr ibn al-Khattab, al-Baker, Qura bin al-Humana, and al-Huyana bin al-Yaman bin Islam ibn al-Khattab.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Jordan. Aid Allah ibn Umar, Salim ibn Aid Umar, Aid Allah ibn Umar, Aid Rahman ibn Umar, Hasfa bint Umar, Aid Allah ibn Umar, Zayd ibn Umar, Fatima bint Umar, Asim ibn Umar, Umar ibn Adul Aziz, الأياد ابن عمر, أيد الرحمن ابن زينب بنت عمر, زبري زيرب ابن بلكر.
Umar is one of the greatest Sahaba in the history. We will never forget how great he was.
Hey guys, you don't have a 3D model, right? Okay, they don't have a 3D. I think you need a mic.
We do.
Huh? You do have a 3D model. Oh, you're supposed to bring it up. Okay, go ahead and get your 3D model, inshallah. Sorry for that miscommunication. They do have a 3D model. What's up?
Is it okay if you don't ask us about the 3D model?
Huh?
Is it okay if you don't ask us about the 3D model? Like, never bring it up?
I'll try. They're gonna ask. The judges are gonna ask.
Just tell him not to ask about
You tell them. Okay. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. Okay, guys. Here, take the mic. Explain what is this?
This is a model of the milk story. When she put the milk in, like, here's the napkin. It's supposed to present the milk. And this is Omar. He's on the horse, but you really can't see him because it's hard on to shape him.
How did Umar become Muslim? You just read there.
Omar became Muslim when he went to his sister's house, and when he went to his sister's house and he saw the Quran, he then saw how important it was.
Okay, so what was Umar in Islam? What do we call him? We call him Sahabi.
Like his
What
nickname,
was his role, the main role of Umar?
like he was like a Khalif, like
Khalifa, okay. Khalifa, do they have any miracles? Like prophets?
no.
No miracles, yes, because they're not prophets.
You mentioned that Umar radiallahu anh became Muslim after he read from the Quran in his sister's house, Fatima. You know what surah that was that he read from?
Not really.
It was Surah Taha. And do you know why he was named Al-Faruq? Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam named Al-Faruq.
I forgot.
You mentioned in the PowerPoint that he was always with the side of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Yeah,
He
and
would always differentiate between what's right and what's wrong, right? Thank you, guys.
The story, the milk. When the girl said, what did she say? When her mother said, add more water, what did the girl say?
she asked her mother, "Why are you putting water in the thing?" And then her mother said, "To make more money." And then her daughter, she thought that this was wrong, and she thought that her mother didn't know that Allah can't see her, because she thinks that she could do whatever she wants, even though like Allah might not see her. So her mother did not know this thing. So her daughter
Do
told
Allah see us as well?
Mhm.
Good. MashaAllah. Thank you. Jazakallah khair, mashallah. Very good. Very good. Take this. Take this.
MashaAllah. Takbir. Very good job, guys. MashaAllah. We are going to try to say takbir instead of clapping, because that's the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So let's try to do that instead of the clapping, inshallah. Okay, the next group. Can we have those who are going to present the story of Prophet Lut alayhi salam? Please come up. This is 3A. Yeah. And the previous one, when we just did, was also 3A. Okay. You want to take the mic?
So we're going to be presenting Prophet Lut. The beginning. Prophet Ibrahim left Egypt with his nephew Prophet Lut, who eventually left to go to the city of Sodom. This city was filled with more evil than you could imagine. They robbed, they killed travelers, and people who were the same gender got married. Prophet Lut kept telling people doing this evil will result in Allah's horrible punishment. The people did not listen.
Oh, the beginning. Go. The three angels. Then Prophet Lut prayed for Allah's protection. Allah sent three angels to the city of Sodom. They came in human form, so nobody would recognize them. The first one to see them was Lut's daughter. The daughter quickly told Prophet Lut. Prophet Lut quickly welcomed the three guests into his home. The wife saw what was going on, so she quickly told the entire city.
Unexpected. The city came to Lut's doorstep to take the three handsome men. Then Prophet Lut was sad because of what was happening. The three angels said, "Don't be sad, we are angels that are sent by Allah to destroy the disbelievers."
Allah's punishment. The angels told Lut, leave the city with his daughters without returning around. Prophet Lut did not take his wife. While the family was running, Allah's punishment proceeded as planned. Rocks from hell dropped onto the city. One of the angels took his wing and flipped the entire city upside down into the ground. Then it was filled with foul water. Today it's called the Dead Sea.
The end. Finally, all the disbelievers would decease from the face of the earth.
Lesson. Allah sent us down for two reasons, to worship Him and to build the civilization. If you marry the same gender, you will not be building nothing but evil.
In this model, we're trying to present the city upside down because one of the angels, while he was trying to destroy the disbelievers, he took his wing and flipped the city.
Who informed the whole city?
The wife.
Was she taken by Lut alayhi salam with him? Was he taken?
Oh.
Was she taken with him?
No.
No.
Why do you believe Prophet Lut alayhi salam left his wife behind?
Because she was with the other people. She was a disbeliever.
So what's the lesson from the whole story of Lut alayhi salam?
Because Allah sent us down for two reasons: to build up our civilization and worship Him, and if we marry the same gender, we won't be building the civilization.
Was that the only evil act they were practicing, or
No.
was other?
There was other ones. They robbed from people and they also killed travelers.
So, what was the Prophet's miracle? Were there any miracle?
Yes, one of when the angels came down to destroy the disbelievers, rocks from hell came down to earth, and one of the angels again flipped the entire city upside
So
down.
this is a miracle. Were there any prophet alive during Prophet Lut's
Yes, Prophet Ibrahim.
Ibrahim? Correct. Very good. Very good. You know your stuff very well. Excellent. Thank you.
Good job, mashallah. Takbir. Okay, we have one more class for 3A. You guys know who you are, don't you? Battle of Uhud. Isn't it the same thing? That's the updated one? Give me a second, inshallah. You can start going over there.
My name is Noor. And I'm Jabran, and we're presenting the Battle of Uhud, along with Adam.
Adam will be presenting the 3D model.
Yeah, no. The Battle of Uhud took place
At Mount Uhud, it was between the Muslims and Quraysh.
Okay, so the Battle of Uhud took place on March 19th, 625, about 1 year after the Battle of Badr. The Hijra year is 3 Shawwal, 3 years after Hijra.
On the screen is a map detailing Mount Uhud's location. It was north of Medina, about 1,000 miles high.
Okay, so the battle was between Muslims and the Quraysh. The Prophet positioned his force in the valley of Uhud with the mountain to his back. He put the archers on the mountain to protect them from behind. He said, "None fight until I give the word."
Let's describe the Muslims' loss. The archers were told sternly by Prophet Muhammad, "Abandon not your position, even if the birds snatch up these men."
Okay, so here's two charts describing the Muslim force and the Quraysh force. So, as you can see, the Muslims seemed like they had more infantry, but look, 700 compared to 3,000 is a really small comparison. So some people on the Muslim side were, the commander was Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ali ibn al-Talib radiallahu anhu, Omar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, and Hamza ibn Abdul Muttalib. And on the Quraysh were Abu Sufyan, and two distinct people who eventually converted to Islam were Khalid ibn al-Walid and Amr ibn al-As.
After Prophet Muhammad told them not to leave their post, of course, they left their post, and they're after attacked by the Quraysh and surrounded, and that's why they lost.
Okay, so let's move on to the reasons for the battle. Okay, so first, religious. The Quraysh did not accept the message of Islam or Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a prophet of mankind. Revenge. The Quraysh were humiliated after Badr, so they wanted to get back at the Muslims and avenge their defeat. Okay, so there are also political reasons too. The growth of Islam put the Quraysh at a lower position, threatening to destroy them. And
the economy of Mecca and Medina was affected by this war. Their trade route was interrupted by this battle.
okay, so the lessons learned from the Battle of Uhud: patience, faith, and obedience. Thank you for viewing our presentation.
Wait.
I'll get it.
No. So this is our 3D model for the Battle of Uhud. It took place on the valley of Mount Uhud, which is right here, and the bows and arrows represented the archers, and the swords represented the swordsmen that clashed in battle.
You mentioned the last three things. You said one of them is obedience, right? To whom? To be obedient to whom?
To be obedient to like your leader, because if you don't follow your leaders, then you won't be able to do anything correctly.
And who is their leader?
In their case, on the Muslim side, it was Prophet Muhammad.
Prophet Muhammad. Okay, so we have to be obedient to Prophet Muhammad in war or not war, right? Not just
either way.
Either way, right?
How did Prophet Muhammad ﷺ react to the disobedience of the archers? How did he treat them afterwards?
Of course, Prophet Muhammad was he noticed that they were disobedient to his orders, so he he
Normally he would be what if somebody disobeys?
normally he would be like angry because they didn't listen and it cost them the war.
But the Prophet ﷺ ended up forgiving those.
Yeah, he forgave the archers who disobeyed him.
So who was the most famous companion who died in the battle of Uhud?
One of the most famous companions was Hamza.
Say disbelievers. What do you think disbelievers are?
Well, in the case of Battle of Uhud, it was the Quraysh, since they were the opposing force.
What the disbelieving?
They disbelieved in the message of Islam.
What is that message?
That there's only one God and Prophet Muhammad is a messenger.
You mentioned Khalid bin Walid. When did Khalid bin Walid converted to Islam? We don't know. Okay, it's not a problem. Okay, now what does it tell us the story of Khalid bin Walid? I mean, I'm asking you a little bit tougher question because you're the older group here. Like he was a disbeliever, he killed Muslims, and then he converted to Islam. What kind of message do we get from this?
That he learned that Islam was the right religion by experience and a lot of hardship.
So God forgives if you.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Thanks.
Thank you. Excellent job, guys.
MashaAllah, very, very good project. Takbir. You can take it. Okay, that concludes our 3A. We'll be moving on to 4A now, inshallah. I can't wait to see the 4A presentations. All right, Sister Hajar. Let's get this group to come up first. Bismillah. You guys can bring up your presentation with you. Be careful, don't crash. Brother Rami, watch your head. Okay, take the mic. Sister Firdaus, Nada, Maya, one of you take the mic.
Sister Hajar by Nada, Maya, and Firdaus.
Sister Hajar was an Egyptian princess. An evil king took over some cities in Egypt and enslaved Sister Hajar. The king gave Sister Hajar a slave, which was Hajar, because she was so nice to him.
Sister Sarah did not treat Sister Hajar like a slave. No, she did the exact opposite and took care of her so much like a sister. Sister Sarah loved Hajar so much.
Sister Hajar married Prophet Ibrahim. That was suggested by Sister because she wanted a little boy. He could not get one with Sister Sarah because she was too old, like more than 90. Sister Hajar lied she was pregnant. She had a boy and named him Ismail. Then Sister Sarah became pregnant because Allah gave her a miracle and named her son Ishaq. Both of the sons became prophets.
She is important because when Allah wanted to test her, she passed. It was that Prophet Ibrahim took Hajar and Ismail which was still a baby, to a barren valley of Becca, 700 miles southeast of Hebron. In later times, it would be called Mecca. Sister Hajar was so shocked at the beginning, but then when she asked why, and Prophet Abraham said it was from Allah, so she knew she was safe.
In the place she was at, she was worried, so she put Ismail on the ground and started running everywhere for help. She ran back and forth 7 times to the Safa and Marwa. That's why we do it in Hajj. Then all of a sudden, where Ismail were dipping his feet in the ground, water flew out. It was called Zamzam water. She was in the relief because she knew Allah was helping them. The water is called Zamzam water. The water is still shooting out from the ground on this very moment.
It was amazing how Sister Hajar believed in Allah and made a miracle. They say that Zamzam water is the tastiest water ever. From the moment Sister Hajar knew it was from Allah, she knew that she must trust Him, and she had faith in Him. She obeyed Allah even though she did not know what was going to happen.
The end.
Okay, can you please explain what's this?
This is Safa and this is Marwa, and Sister Sarah, she ran 7 times between these two mountains, and the Zamzam water from this crack, it came up, and yeah.
She ran 7 times looking for what?
She was looking for food or water, and it came out.
For whom she was looking for food and water?
She was looking for food and water for her son.
What was the name of her son?
Ismail. Alayhi salam.
Do you think that Hajar was a good believer in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
At first, she said to her husband why he was going, but she let him go and believed in Allah and said that he can go. So she took good care of Ismail and believed in Allah, and she was a good person.
What's the main lesson from the story of Hajar?
The main lesson from this story is that you should always believe in Allah, and you should always believe in what you get, and
trust also.
And trust in Allah.
So you want to answer Maya? Maya? Give Maya the microphone. Let's ask her this question. Okay, so when she was running back and forth, was she carrying Prophet Ismail?
No.
She was not. So where did she have him?
She
She left him on the ground, right?
yes.
Okay. And what happened there while he was on the ground and she was running back and forth? So what happened?
The baby was he was like crying and kicking his feet on the ground, and that's how the water came out.
Exactly. Very good. Excellent.
The water came out by the will of who?
Allah.
So what is the lesson that we all obey Allah?
Obey Allah, trust Allah, and believe in Him.
Thank you.
Good job, guys. MashaAllah. Takbir. Okay. We have one more for 4A, the Battle of the Trenches. Let's go, brothers. Come up and bring your project with you, inshallah.
Thank you, brother. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Ahmed, this is Omar, and that's Abdurrahman, and that's Basil. And we have the Battle of the Trenches, also known as the Battle of Khandaq. How it started. The pagans considered Islam a threat to their economy, security, and political supremacy. They knew that if they killed Muhammad, peace be upon him, there would be no threat. They decided to strike a final blow to Medina and exterminate all Muslims.
Preparations. The pagans were preparing for an all-out war. After 2 years, they assembled a force of 10,000 men. This was the largest force ever assembled by the Arabs at the time. In February 627 AD, the army left Mecca to destroy Medina.
How they reacted. When the news reached Medina, it struck the Muslims with panic. The Prophet, peace be upon him, called an emergency meeting with his companions to consult with them of the matter of defending the city of Medina. One of the Prophet's closest friends said that if the trenches were dug, Medina could be successfully defended.
The trenches. The trenches were dug in 6 days, just in time to prevent the invaders from assault. When the army arrived, they were stopped in their tracks by the trenches. Their strategy was to take Medina by storm, but they couldn't with the trenches in the way. They switched their tactics to siege by blocked all exits out of Medina.
Amr ibn Abd Wud. Amr ibn Abd Wud was the Quraysh's fiercest and strongest warrior. He found a place where the trench was not wide and jumped over. He then challenged anyone to a duel. Ali ibn Abi Talib was the only one to accept his offer. With one swipe of his blade, he chopped Amr into two.
The ending. The army's courage disappeared when they heard their strongest warrior was smitten with a single blow. Hundreds left the army. The Quraysh lost their war against Islam.
This is our 3D model of the trenches, and Amr cut in two in one of the trenches.
Do you know the name of that companion who suggested to dig the trench?
Well, he was from Persia, a Persian leader, and he does know very effective war tactics. So
His name was Salman Farsi.
yes.
So, how did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help the Muslims towards the end of this war?
Well, towards the end, Allah blessed, He blessed Ali while smiting him, and because of that, Meccans, they didn't even put up a fight because they left out of fear.
What about all these 10,000 men that they have and the tents they have outside of Medina? How did all of them just retreat?
Because they heard that their strongest warrior was killed, with one blow. So they imagined what could happen with this whole with all of these Muslims.
Yes, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also sent strong winds on them and sent storms that forced them to leave Medina. Thank you.
In the very beginning, it was written pagans. Who are pagans?
The pagans were the ones who worshipped idols and the ones who worshipped stones, and they had no one God.
And in Quranic language, we say them.
What is it?
In Quranic language, we say them mushrikeen.
Mushrikeen, yes.
Okay, were there any miracle here in this story?
Well, Ali ibn Abi Talib, he did offer Amr the first blow, so he hit him across the forehead where it started bleeding, but he was not dismayed, so he didn't get hurt. So then he returned the strike and killed him.
But were there any miracle? No miracle, they were planning, right? Just
Yeah.
good planning.
Yeah.
Good strategy.
There was a miracle. When they were digging, there was a big stone they could not break. So they requested Rasulullah, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, to come and help them. When Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam hit it once, there was a big flame came out from there, and he Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that the castle of Qaisar or Kisra will be broken. So that and then that stone became into pieces because of his being prophet. And there are other things as well, but anyhow, this is Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah khair.
Very good, mashallah.
Thank you. Take it.
MashaAllah, very nice. Takbir. That concludes 4A classes. Now we will be moving on to our highest level of classes, the 5A. Inshallah, we expect the highest of conduct from them, the best of projects. Inshallah, we hope. Maybe. We need more of those? Okay, inshallah. Yeah, can you get more of them? You don't have any at all? One each? We have three more left. No, 3 total. Okay, inshallah, we're gonna get a few more. But we can start now, right? We're good, okay. Okay, next class, inshallah, 5A on Maryam. You guys bring your presentations with you, inshallah.
Sayyida Maryam bint Imran by Tukat, Nihad, Nura, Muna, and Sama.
The reputation of Maryam. Maryam was a pious woman who was devoted to Allah. Allah provided Maryam with items that were given to her without limits. Allah preferred her over all women, making her the best woman in the world.
The childhood of Maryam. Childhood. Maryam was a daughter from the Al-Imran household. However, Zachariah immediately noticed that Maryam was special. However, the responsibility fell on a childless and elderly man named Zachariah. In order to test her knowledge, Zachariah decided to ask her a simple question.
Zachariah, the guardian. Zachariah humbly asked, "Where did your food come from, Miriam?" Miriam replied, "It is from God. Indeed, God provides for whom He wills without account."
Zachariah the guardian, this simple answer deeply impacted the old man. Having long desired a son, Zachariah prayed to God for the miracle of children. In the Quran, it states that his prayers were answered almost immediately, even though his wife was old and beyond childbearing age.
The birth of Jesus. Maryam's pregnancy. When Maryam became pregnant without there being a husband, she isolated herself from her family and lived in the eastern side of the sacred mosque in Jerusalem.
Angel Jibreel confrontation. When Jibreel came, he was in the form of a man. Maryam was afraid of him, so she attempted to make him fear Allah. He told her that Allah was going to bless her with a son.
Angel Jibreel confrontation. Confused, Maryam said, "How can I have a son without there being a father?" Jibreel replied, "Allah is capable of whatever He wants, so He will give you a son without a father. In that, Isa will be able to talk to Him and will call people to worship Allah in monotheistic beliefs. He will also be among the righteous."
The birth of Jesus, Isa. As Maryam was going into labor, Allah guided her into a palm tree near a stream. He told her to shake the tree so dates could fall into her lap. Finally, when Jesus was born, the people asked how such a thing could take place. Maryam just showed them her newborn baby, and he spoke and explained who he was and what he was doing there. Here ends the story of birth of Jesus.
Controversial issue. To sum it all up, even though Maryam and Isa have a high position among humans, they are not worthy of worship, and people should only worship Allah. The end. Thank you.
Come close, and somebody from you will say what is this.
This is the palm tree from where Maryam was going to labor, and this is the stream where she was, and this is the fruit basket because Allah gave her summer fruits in the winter and winter fruits in the summer.
Okay. This came first or this came first?
The basket came first because she was blessed as a child, and then she was in the palm tree when she was giving birth to Jesus.
Okay, so the stuff you read for us in the PowerPoint from which surah?
Surah Maryam.
Maryam, very good. And Maryam is promised with something great that we all would love to have after death. Promise with what?
She was promised with heaven because Allah preferred her over all women.
So what's the main lesson that we learn from this story?
We learned that even though we go through hardships, we should also always trust Allah, even if the path is hard. We should.
What about the message of Isa alayhi salam? What was his message?
His message was like La ilaha illallah. There's no God but Allah, and yeah.
Thank you.
So who was born to Miriam?
No.
Who was born to Miriam?
Isa.
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 Was he a Nabi? A prophet?
Yes, he was.
Okay, so under what age he talked to the people?
He was
How old he was?
like when he was born as an infant, he was talking to them.
And do you know that particular words which he said? Inni Abdullah. Inni Abdullah. MashaAllah, guys. Very good.
Shukran.
Good job, guys. Takbir. MashaAllah, very good. Okay, we have two more. Bilqis and Talut and Jalut. Huh? You want to go? Okay, guys. Talut and Jalut, please come up. MashaAllah.
Yeah, we're going to bring it after.
So we did Talut and Jalut by
Ziyad Tarraf,
Farouk,
Jad, and Bilal, but he isn't here today.
Talut. Talut was a poor farmer who farmed with his dad. As Talut was working, one day, two donkeys ran away. Talut traveled for miles and miles looking for the donkeys. As he followed the riverbank, he was led to another village. This is where he met Prophet Armia, where she lived. The Prophet Armia then informed Talut of his duty for the children of Israel. Talut did not believe her at first. Then he noticed the children of Israel were dependent on him.
the test. Prophet Maya instructed Talut to go to the desert and retrieve the box of testament. which is in the inheritance of Musa and Harun. Talut decided that he would struggle in the way of Allah. Talut agreed to take down Jalut, the oppressive one. On the journey, Talut said, Allah wants to test you. A soldier said, what is the test? Talut said, do not drink from the river. If you do, you are not part of my men. Many ignored and drank from the river. With the remaining soldiers in his army, Talut led his army to see Jalut's army.
The Stone of Victory. An old man lived with his 4 sons at a village of Beit Lam. When this old man heard that Talut was to struggle in the ways of Allah, he sent his 3 older sons to join the struggle. He told his youngest son, Dawood, that he must stay. Dawood said to his father that he wants to struggle in the way of Allah. Dawood's father was afraid to send Dawood to fight since he had no experience in the battle, but his father agreed to let him bring food to his brothers and tell his father of the news.
Musa's breastplate. Allah said that whoever was to kill Jalut needed to wear Musa's breastplate. No soldier could fit in the breastplate. Talut's army was afraid to go against Jalut's army. Prophet David, which is Dawood, told Jalut that if no one was to fight Jalut, and that he will. Impressed by his bravery, Talut retrieved Musa's breastplate and gave it to Dawood for him to use. Talut was astonished. The breastplate fit Dawood perfectly. He set off to meet Jalut.
The battle. Dawood set off with a heart of bravery and faith. Jalut was surprised to see a young boy walking toward him. Talut knew that Allah has chosen Dawood to fight Jalut. Jalut thought that he could take down Dawood easily. Jalut said to Dawood, Without doubt, you are going to die. Dawood replied, I have come out here to kill you, not to die. Jalut asked, where is your sword? Where is your spear? Where are your weapons? Dawood said that his weapon is faith. He has come to fight Jalut in Allah's name. Dawood got ready to throw a stone at Jalut. Dawood threw the stone. No one saw it, but they heard a beautiful sound. When the stone hit Jalut, he was unable to walk. Jalut fell to his knees and died.
So what we can learn from this is that Dawood had faith in Allah, which helped him win the battle, even though Jalut was much bigger and stronger than Prophet David. Yeah. Alright, so for our presentation, we made the homemade slingshot that Prophet David used. So it represents the stone, and this homemade kit represents how in the ancient times they weren't you can go to the store and buy a slingshot. So it was homemade. So that's kind of what we're trying to show, and this is symbolic of the victory.
Also, I would like to add for the 3D model, it shows Dawood's bravery when he went to fight Jalut, because Jalut was bigger and more stronger and had more experience in war, but Dawood was he was a shepherd, not a soldier, which shows how Dawood had a lot of faith to go with this homemade slingshot and fight Jalut.
And even though it was super small, it's just a slingshot, and Jalut was huge, he still defeated him with Allah's faith, or faith in Allah.
So what actually the message here is?
The message is that when you have faith in Allah, there's nothing that can stop you, because Dawood had a lot of faith in Allah, and even though Dawood was smaller and not experienced as Jalut in war, he defeated Jalut with just one slingshot.
So how old was Prophet Dawood alayhi salam? How old was he when he fought?
He was a teen, or 11, 15, yeah.
What did he grow up to be, Dawood alayhi salam?
He grew up to be a prophet, or a messenger of Allah.
King and a prophet, and
yeah.
he's the father of a famous prophet and king also. Do you know who his son was?
Sulaiman, right? I don't know. Sulaiman?
Yeah, Prophet Sulaiman or something.
And where did this battle take place? Do we know? We do? Do you? Do you know?
It took place in
Take a guess.
the land of his homeland, which is current. It's Canaan, or current. Yeah, Israel. That's right.
Palestine. Okay. So the moral of the story. What do you like about? So I see you were presenting it with a lot of enthusiasm. So, what did you like about the story?
I like the fact that you shouldn't judge like a book by its cover, or like just because his size was small, it like shouldn't affect what you think.
Okay, and this by the will of Allah.
Yeah.
Something I also learned was that you should not be judged by your size or what you believe in, because Dawood was small. It was small compared to Jalut, and since Dawood was small, Jalut thought he would defeat him easily. Like I stated in my PowerPoint, I said that the Jalut said that with no doubt he would kill Dawood easily, but instead Dawood defeated Jalut with because he believed in Allah, and Allah helped him defeat Jalut.
What I liked about this is that even if, like, kind of like what Ziad said, even if you're small, even though you're weak, with Allah, like, anything is possible under His will.
Was it your PowerPoint or?
It was like
me
and the other.
I said my PowerPoint. Very good. You did very well, mashallah.
Shukran.
Jazakumullah khair. Takbir. Okay, last but not least, our last presentation. We expect this to be the best one. Come on, guys. Bilqis, mashallah. Where's your 3D model, guys? Oh, okay.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nama. My name is Salma.
My name is Khadija.
My name is Maryam. Our topic for Islamic Fair is Bilqis. So the overview for this story is that Bilqis is the daughter of King Hadad, which is also the king of Saba, and he was sick before he died. He had a meeting with the most important people in the country. For example, the army leader, but Bilqis was missing.
When Bilqis was missing after she came back, her dad was mad at her, and he asked her why she was late on her father when he was dying. So the army leader told him that their enemy was on the way to them, but she took care of it, and her dad was really impressed.
King Hadad wanted all of them because he wanted to tell them that he chose his daughter Bilqis to take his kingdom after he dies. A lot of them disagreed because she was a female, but he told them that she saved the country while none of them cared.
Connection to Islam. Bilqis was a leader of people that believed the Son of God was God, but one day one of Suleiman's soldiers was flying and he saw her and her people praying for the sun. So he speeded up, flying back to Prophet Suleiman, and one of the other soldiers told him that Suleiman said that he was going to cut his head because he was late unless he came back with a really good reason for his lateness.
Why was the flying soldier late? The soldier told Prophet Sulaiman about his lateness excuse. So Prophet Sulaiman gave him an order, which is to take a message and send it to Bilqis. Inside this message, Prophet Sulaiman invited Bilqis and her people to join Islam. Bilqis got scared, so she ordered her slaves to make him a gift made out of a lot of gold and valuables stuff sent as a gift, but when they sent it to Suleiman, her refuses to accept it, but he was really kind, well meeting Bilqis's people.
And then when Bilqis's people came back to her and told her what happened, she decided to visit Prophet Suleiman by herself. And she refuses to take any of her guards when she entered. She saw a beautiful place like her castle, and Suleiman asked her, "Does that look like your castle?" She said yes.
Then he told her that what he is in now is all because he believes in Allah and prays for him. And then he told her to go somewhere in a castle where she could rest and sleep. When she entered, she said that it looks like an ocean, but he told her it wasn't an ocean. It was just a really valuable glass that looks like it's a beach.
Did she enter Islam? Yes. Thankfully, after what Sulaiman told her, she said that she was wrong by saying that the sun is God, and she converted to Islam. Assalamu alaikum.
When you say the soldier flew, flying soldier, what do you mean by flying soldier?
Oh, that the soldiers of Suleiman were animals, and the one that flew was a hudhud.
So, what was the religion of Bilqis and her people? What did they worship?
They worshipped the sun and they thought it was God.
In what area?
Saba
Saba, and where is Saba, in what country?
in Yemen.
In Yemen, mashallah. طيب, how did she come to realize her mistake of worshipping the sun?
So when she saw that Suleiman had her throne, she was like, "Oh my God!" And then he told her that Allah did that, and then she was like, "The sun could not do that." And then she said, she made the shahad, and then she converted to Islam.
Did you guys read this story inside the Quran?
Yes.
We reviewed it, and it told the exact same story we just said, how she converted to Islam and
It is Suleiman alayhi salam asked who can bring her throne.
Oh, he asked the jinn, and then the jinn was like, it can take like 10 to 15 minutes, but then he was like, he made dua to Allah, and then Allah got it in a blink of an eye.
Who was that? It was not Suleiman. It was someone else. The man of knowledge, a man of believers. He said that, "Oh, Suleiman alayhi salam, I can bring the whole castle with a blink of eye." MashaAllah, very good job.
Okay, and this is from which surah in the Quran?
Surah An-Naml.
Surah An-Naml. Okay, so what the story with the Naml? Is it possible to talk to or hear the Naml and talk to them?
Well, my dad told me that Prophet Suleiman, he had experience with animals, and he was able to speak to animals and communicate with them.
What do you mean by experience? Zookeeper? What do you mean by experience?
Who gave him that power?
Allah.
Allah gave him the power to speak to animals.
It was only he who could talk and who can understand the sound and the word. Very good.
Jazakumullah khair, barakallahu feekum. And alhamdulillah, that concludes all our presentations. MashaAllah. Sister Nada, do you want to conclude?
Assalamu alaikum. Jazakumullah khairan. I just want to thank you and invite you for our graduation day. I'll send you the invitation. It's very important for you to come, inshallah. لو سمحت. I think it's gonna be. Okay. It's just we might have it inshallah على not the 20th, no, the first week of June, inshallah, but might be not Sunday. Might be Saturday because Sunday Islamic Relief they have the walk and we wanted to join them inshallah. So it will be on Saturday, the first Saturday of June, inshallah. I will send you an invitation also, but you make sure to come, inshallah. It's a mandatory.
I and we the judges really appreciate you very very much that you are taking so much to get these children a very nice knowledge of our Deen and Islam, and this is what will help them, and Allah will give you the reward for this here and hereafter, inshallah. Keep going on, and our prayers are with you, mashallah.
Jazakallah khair.
All of you and the teachers,
all the teachers,
everyone,
yeah,
mashallah.
they did a great job, mashallah. Barakallah fiham.
Teachers are
Barakallah
really,
fiham.
they deserve
Mashallah. They deserve a big takbir.
And all the kids.
Yeah,
mashallah.
alhamdulillah.
All the kids, they did
Wallahi,
very well.
Jazallah, yeah, al-ahali, the parents, you know, like who, everybody who's working hard, it's like a triangle. Yani, a teacher and a parent and yani, and the إدارة عندنا the school, the kids. Inshallah, yeah, it's, we have all, yani, we have to give the credit for all of them, inshallah. Jazakum Allah khairan. Barakallah fikum. Assalamu alaikum.
No, this one's yours. This one's another student's. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Can we have like take a picture with the judge, guys? Brother. Sister Samar. Yes. Can you come to take a picture? لو سمحتوا.